Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley for MatthewMaley.com. First off, let me apologize. Don't know what happened to my voice. Apparently, being out at the MMA fight just killed my voice. Understandable, I was cheering for my buddy Ronnie pretty hard, who ended up winning tonight. It is Friday night. He ended up winning his match his very first time in the cage, so shout out to him. But that's where my voice is. So, as you can tell by being on the couch, it's time for another weekly movie review. So please bear with me and deal with this little raspy voice here. So, decided, kind of through the process of not having the movie that I wanted to see, to do another double feature. I was hoping to see Moneyball, or Contagion, or Midnight in Paris. But all three of them were checked out at the two red boxes I went to and the one Blockbuster. So I actually went and got Arena first, back on like Wednesday to watch. And really just because I was there. After watching that, when I took it back to get one of those three movies that were still checked out, I got a movie called Unthinkable. So I figured, you know what, they're both by Samuel L. Jackson, or starring Samuel L. Jackson, so we might as well do another double feature, and this one being a Samuel L. Jackson edition. So we'll start off with the movie that I liked less of the two, that being Arena. Arena stars Samuel L. Jackson, as well as Kellen Lutz of Twilight fame, who also was absolutely awesome in Generation Kill, which was an HBO miniseries. If you haven't seen it, seriously check it out. It's very similar to like Band of Brothers, but just set in current day. And it really gives a very cool perspective on the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. One of my buddies who has served, I was speaking with him about it, and he said it's very, very accurate, actually, where, you know, most things on TV, though HBO's pretty good about it, but most things on TV are, you know, totally made up and BS. He said that this was pretty much dead on. There are people like Captain America in it and all that, so if you haven't seen the show, you don't know that reference, so I apologize. But, back up. I know, I start going and I just get off on these tangents. But it stars Kellen Lutz. That's all I was trying to say in the first place. As well as Johnny Messner, who was a pretty familiar face. I don't really know what else I knew him from, but he was just a face that I know I'd seen before. As well as Katya Winter, who I wasn't familiar with. And a little bit of a cameo by James Remar, who, if you guys are fans of Dexter, he plays Dexter's father in that. As well as Daniel Day Kim. So all my Lost fans out there, he was the guy who played Son's husband. Wow. How do I not remember what his name was? Jin. My God, like, talk about just a brain meltdown. He played Jin on Lost. So love him. Think he's a great actor. He's actually on a Hawaii 5-0 right now, I believe, with the guy who played John Locke. Kind of weird, but both him and James Remar have pretty much just extended cameos. But the basis of the movie is this underground fight sport community kidnaps people and then forces them to fight in hand-to-hand combat that is all controlled by Samuel L. Jackson. And of course, because of the world that we live in, everybody wants to see people kill each other. It's all run online, predominantly watched, from at least what they tell you in the movie, by frat guys and Asians, because apparently those are the only two groups. Though, like, literally all the cutscenes they do through the entire movie of showing people watching this is only either frat guys or Asians. Really kind of weird. Until the very, very end, when they broaden their horizons a little bit. But essentially, it's excuse me, again, my voice is cracking. This whole system is set up by Samuel L. Jackson, who is the evil mastermind. Apparently, they've been doing this for years. how they're undetectable by the FBI and all the other agencies of the world, apparently, because they have such impressive servers, as well as two very attractive Asian assistants whose job it is to kiss Samuel L. Jackson and move their hands around really fast. That's all they do through the entire movie. You might ask why I'm doing this. It's because that's how they control the setup. Like, I understand that it's supposed to be some futuristic type stuff, but if you're telling me that someday in the future I'm going to be able to build an entire CGI background, drop swords into combat, and essentially control everything, shutting down servers, setting up servers, by simply doing this, that's pretty impressive. I'll just say that right now. I thought that was corny, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, the story really follows Kellen Lutz, who, after losing his girlfriend in a tragic car accident, pretty much falls off the grid, ends up trying to prove his might, if you will, by picking fights in South and Central America. Maybe it was just in Mexico, I don't remember. And just beating the shit out of people. Sorry, there's my one bad word for the review. He is then seen by a woman in the bar who's been following him a little bit, the character of Katya Winter, who proceeds to drug and kidnap him for this syndicate, if you will. And of course she has her own demons and baggage and all that that she brings to it. So there are a couple twists in it that I didn't see coming, but in the same sense, they didn't really feel like they were well done twists. It felt like more of just the writers didn't know what to do, so they're like, we'll get him with this. Which, when you have a good twist in a movie, like at the end of The Sixth Sense, spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, but at the end when you find out that Bruce Willis is dead, you're like, OMG! That's the face I made, at least. And you were amazed, and then you thought back to the entire movie and you're like, oh yeah, that could be, oh yeah, that could be, wow, he really was dead the whole time, whoa. This movie, you get this big twist and it's just like, okay. You know, and when you have that in a movie with a twist like that, then it just becomes a waste. It was a waste of a twist, in my opinion at least. Of course, there's also the main bad guy, because Samuel L. Jackson wasn't bad enough, which is played by, what was his name again? Johnny Messner, who is the executioner, and he's the person who comes in and actually kills the people in the fight if the person isn't killed during the fight, the person who loses. But of course, that's only happens if the mass viewing public votes that they should kill him or not. But of course, this is the world and humanity, so of course they want to see him get killed, chop his head off. Now, I think they could have really explored that aspect of it, that aspect of why, as humans, would we want to see that? Especially like when it becomes pretty known that it's not fake. In the beginning, it's kind of discussed of, oh, is it fake, whatever. But they proceed to kidnap a prisoner, like from a maximum security prison transport for a South African serial killer or spree killer. And then they have them fight. So to prove that, in fact, it is real, because a lot of people were saying in the beginning, this can't be real. But they could have really delved into the topic of the state of humanity as a whole. But instead, they're just like, no, people want to see people die. Meh. That was it. So, overall, I thought it was a pretty lacking movie. Like I said, there are a couple twists in it, but you really didn't care at the end of the day. And that's sad when you sit through a movie and in the last 20 minutes there's a huge twist and it doesn't really matter. Poor writing, poor everything. There was some pretty cool action in it. There was some pretty cool combat scenes, as Kellen Lutz's character does. I almost called him Kellen Moore. He's the quarterback for Boise State. God, I always got sports on my brain. But Kellen Lutz's character, you know, as he's progressing through the fights, it is pretty cool seeing some of the action and, some of the stuff like that. They did one thing they did do a good job of is all of the injuries, having to like sew them back and staple them, stuff like that. That was pretty well done. I thought that was pretty cool. But overall, I mean, even with having Jin from Lost and Samuel L. Jackson, who I do like, and a plethora of nudity, I can't give this movie more than 2 stars. I couldn't. I mean, I could try, but I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Well, I would. I don't really put that much thought into it. But, I mean, honestly, it was just, it was just, by my definition, 2 stars is a below average movie. This was a below average movie. I would say it's not worth $1. If it's on TV late at night, you got nothing else better to do, sure, watch some of it. If for nothing more than just the action, okay. But it really, in my opinion, could have been a lot better. I really feel like they could have done so much more with it. But instead, we're at the crossroads of, do we turn this into a social commentary about the world structured through blood and violence, or do we just pile on more blood, violence, and nudity? Which maybe that says stuff, enough about the human race as a whole right there. I don't know. So in the end, 2 stars. I wouldn't recommend it, even if you Redbox it. I don't even think it's worth $1 or $1.50 or whatever they're up to now. So there you go. Definitely was not feeling it. Now the second film that I reviewed was definitely it was definitely better. And all the aspects of thought that Arena didn't bring up, this movie did. I'm speaking about Unthinkable, starring Samuel L. Jackson, Carrie-Anne Moss, who no matter what she's ever in for the rest of her life, I will always picture her in a one-piece latex bodysuit with a black leather jacket. No, I'm not talking about some BDSM stuff. I'm talking about The Matrix. She was Trinity. So that's what she'll always be as far as I'm concerned. As well as Michael Sheen, who is actually a very well-versed actor. I've seen him in a lot of stuff that you don't really realize at first. But he really is, in my opinion, a pretty solid actor. Hold on, who else in here? Sorry. Also, Stephen Root had a short little part in there. And nobody else really that well known. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. What's his name? I apologize. I can't come up with his name. Oh, Benito Martinez, who played Aceveda on The Shield. Anybody out there who liked The Shield, you know about that, Aceveda. Shield is one of my favorite shows. Shout out to Vic Mackey, played by Michael Chiklis, dude's a beast. So he was in it as well. But this movie is about a radical Muslim terrorist, essentially, who is a U.S. citizen, white guy, wow. Wow, became a Muslim and apparently translated to it, and has since really gone off the deep end to his radical fanaticism, and has put 3 nuclear warheads in 3 cities in the U.S. and is threatening to blow them up. So they're trying to find out how he's, find out where they are, how to get him to de-arm them. Now, the aspect of it that I thought was really cool was, first off, the only reason that Samuel L. Jackson's even brought in is kind of through a chance encounter. When they're running down all the leads of this video that they get from Michael Sheen's character saying, I have 3 bombs, I'm going to blow, this up. Through a very chance encounter, they cross paths with Samuel L. Jackson, who is actually in hiding, and has the FBI show up at his house, and I won't give much of it away, but he's a very well-trained person, let's say that. We don't really ever know what government branch trained him, who he's working for, anything like that. He's definitely deep black ops. And we then find out that, in fact, they've had Martin Sheen's character. God, it's 5:55 in the morning. This is what happens. Your boy needs sleep. Got like 3 hours last night. But Michael Sheen's character, he's already been captured. So they bring Samuel L. Jackson in, playing the character of H, to interrogate him. And apparently he is the most hardcore, ruthless, black ops, terrorist investigator and interrogator there is. And this dude is a beast. So from the jump, one thing I really liked about it was the amount of department bureaucracy, how the FBI isn't going to be read in by the CIA, but they're being forced to work with them, whether they like it or not. Where this branch of the military actually has control because of this jurisdiction, because of this. I really like that because I really feel like that's what a lot of inner, department bureaucracy and inner group, BS there is. What you have between the FBI and the Marshal Service, what you have between the CIA and, I really thought that was cool. And it showed how much, time was spent dragging the feet and how much time was wasted because of, no, that's confidential, that's classified, we can't read you in. Well, how do you know that that's not the piece of info that they need to solve this? So I will say it gets very brutal. So if you have a light stomach or you're adverse to seeing torture, everybody's adverse to seeing torture, but if you can't separate this as a movie, do not watch this. I'm saying that right now. I actually thought it was a pretty good movie, but do not watch this. Samuel L. Jackson is so incredibly ruthless, but that's what I liked about the movie, is that it posed the question of how far do you go? The title of Unthinkable actually comes from a comment that he makes. He says, if you want me to find the information as to where these bombs are, I have to do the unthinkable. And it's crazy. And really it comes down to the level of how far do you go? This man is willing to blow up 3 nuclear warheads in 3 huge cities across America, killing tens of millions of people. How far do you go? Do you kill his wife? Do you kill his children? Do you chop his junk off? Do you chop his fingers off? Do you waterboard him? Do you hang him by his toes and electrocute him? And those are all the aspects that are discussed. And even more than that, how do you deal with it if that's what you do? How do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I gave the okay for this man to have his finger chopped off. I gave it the okay for this man to have his fingernails ripped off, to have his tongue cut out, to be waterboarded. That's what I really liked, that they made you ask those questions. And more so than any movie in the past, because most movies are too soft or too sugar-coated to actually take it there. Most movies would only imply the torture. Before anything ever happened, they'd be like, no, we aren't going to let him get his finger get cut off. No. Whereas this, and I'm not wanting to give anything away, but this wasn't scared to sugarcoat it, wasn't scared to take it too far, or they didn't sugarcoat it. They were scared to sugarcoat it because they didn't. There were so many aspects of it that I really liked. But for whatever reason, I didn't really like the movie that much overall. And I don't know why. It's so weird. Like, when the movie ended, I was like, all right. Like, we're usually with a 4-star movie, or even like a good 3-star movie, I'm like, whoa, there's a reason to it. That was my worst unintentional Keanu Reeves impression ever. But there was just something about this movie that everybody did a good job. Everybody acted very well. And it was really cool to see, like, the the fractionation and the splintering amongst the group as the time got closer to the bombs going off and the torture got more unhuman. And I thought Carrie-Anne Moss did a great job. I thought Samuel L. Jackson did a great job. And there was a guy who played one of the generals, one of the military generals or commanders in it. Thought he did a really good job. But most of the movie takes place in one room. And while I thought that it was a very, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I liked the movie. I liked the characters. I liked that they actually took it that far, that they didn't, pussyfoot around it, that they didn't, they didn't soften the topic. They really pushed it and made you ask questions. But I don't know why it's not a movie I'm going to buy. And maybe it was because it was so brutal and it was so tough to watch. Maybe that's why. But usually when a movie's brutal and tough to watch, I would say it's a 4-star movie. Where this, I would only give it 3, maybe 3.5 stars for whatever reason. And I don't know what it is. But it's weird. So I did think that there was some great acting in it. And I really, like I said, I liked where they took the movie. As effed up as it was, I liked where they took it. But overall, there was just something about it. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Can't give it 4. I don't know why. I just can't. Though I liked how it ended. I liked, how far they took it. I liked the acting. Liked Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know, it's just weird. So overall, 3.5 stars. I would say check it out. Redbox it. Blockbuster Express it. Check it out on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. I would say, though, that it is worth watching for, if not anything else, just to see them having to ponder what's okay. And there are a couple good twists in it that are worth watching for that aspect as well. So overall, 2 Samuel L. Jackson movies. One was 2 stars. One was 3.5. Definitely would recommend the second one, Unthinkable. Though don't buy it. Just go check it out first. So let me know if you guys liked either one of them as well. I'm always curious to hear. So thank you as always for checking out my videos. Once again, Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. It is officially Saturday morning. I'm going to get some sleep before football starts. And stay tuned. We'll be doing a video for that as well. As always, check out the rest of my videos, MatthewMaley.com. Of course, if you're up on YouTube right now, search for Matthew Maley Poker, as well as when you check me out, maybe watch them, maybe leave me a little comment, maybe watch a couple more times, maybe like my video and then watch a few more times, and then subscribe if you want. Of course, you can also follow your boy on Twitter with football popping off. I'm always tweeting up on that, as well as just other random stuff. And follow me on that at Matthew Maley. And as always, up on Facebook, like your boy's page at Matthew Maley Poker. So search for your boy. So until the next video, I'm officially signing off. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Does it big from MLK Day. Hopefully everybody gets the day off like I do. And let me know what you guys think of the video. Did you like the movie? Did you even see either one of them? Do you think Samuel L. Jackson takes too many roles? He shouldn't have done Arena. I'm just saying. Let me know. So until the next video, your boy's signing off. Peace out, y'all.